Hi, welcome back to Perspectives. In part 4 of our discussion on leadership, we will tackle the controversial topic of gender and leadership styles.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you talk about Queen Elizabeth and all of her challenges. Do you think that men fundamentally lead different than women or need to lead differently than women?
I don't know if they. So here, I'm not sure if it's. That's a tough one, right? Because as we were talking in between the break, I think leadership is unique to every individual, and every individual has many factors like gender and their own cultural background, their upbringing, their own inspirational leaders that they use as role models. All of those layers fall into that. Their generation, for example, all those things. So I think at one point in time, you probably could have said male leaders are A, B, C, and female leaders are X, Y, and Z. I don't know if that's as true today as it was once upon a time. But I don't know. I don't feel like it. To me, it's a big question, and I would be. I don't think I feel comfortable saying yes or no in either way because it's a big. It depends.
Do you have any opinions on that, Natalie?
Well, let's start back with Queen Elizabeth first, just to bring you back to. In her case, back then, it was very different because she was the queen, but she was supposed to marry, and so she had to be a different leader, and part of being a leader for her was always saying, yes, I'll get married. Oh, yes, I'll get married with this one. Oh, yes. And knowing that probably, like, I don't think we know, but probably she never intend to marry any of those guys. Too bad, so sad. But she was. And honestly, probably depending of the company you are, age bracket, and all those things, I would say yes, probably leadership. It's different from men and women.
And as a model, I think we use there's a lot more male leaders that we use as a model. Right or wrong, I just think there's a lot more history where we pay attention to the male leaders in our history. And we deconstruct their style versus many, many female leaders to be able to. So because we've used males as a model, I think female leaders that have grown up underneath that behave more in those typical, stereotypical, gender-specific way because we've used a male as a model for leadership skills, for lack of...
Yes. I'm like, yes. But also, when we look at leader in the past, like a long time ago, we always, most of the time, go back to male.
Yes.
And but there was a lot of women
leader
also. It's just we don't know about them.
We didn't pay attention to them.
Exactly.
I agree.
So I'm not sure. I think it's a different way of leading. I think so.
Well, if we focus on...
I'm sure you have a more precise question, but we're not getting there.
I think if we focus on today's workplace, there's definitely still challenges for women leaders that may be different than the challenges that exist for male leaders. And I can just throw one out. Most women still take care of the household. So energy levels is obviously a big issue for female leaders when, if it's not a level playing field.
Yep.
Completely. So how, I guess, can you think of other challenges that female leaders may have to overcome that might be slightly different than male leaders, and some of the things that we can offer our viewers in terms of...
I was reading an article the other day.
Skill sets?
And it was interesting. I was surprised they were still talking about that women that are assertive at work are not perceived well as if a man is. And often a leader need to have that level to be able to lead, and it's normal. But when a woman does it, it's like...
There's actually quite a few studies on that, and that is actually an accurate perception that women, first of all, if we back up, some people believe that doing a good job and consistently doing a good job is people will notice that you're doing a good job. And what they found is that, no, you actually have to tell people that you're doing a good job. But women who are assertive and talk about the great things that they do are perceived very differently from men who are assertive and talk about the great things they do.